Sorry.
You just want to talk, and you don't let me say anything. You don't let me tell you what you're telling me isn't telling me anything.
Sorry.
Okay?
Welcome to Rebel Chaser. My name is Gail, and I've got two videos for you tonight. The first one is with Judge Mogan, and I didn't realize this until I was almost done with this video, but this young lady was in a video I did about 2 weeks ago where she had a PPO against her and decided to, I guess, enter her ex's home when she wasn't supposed to. So I'll pin that in the comments so you guys can watch that if you need to. And then the second video is with Judge Urich. So I'll let you guys watch.
All right, we will go on the record in the matters 25 SC 142 Herman Smoody versus Victoria Mott, and 25 SC 90 Herman Smoody versus Victoria Mott. I believe that 25 SC 142 also contains Mr. Smoody's wife Tina, so she's sitting with him at this time. This is a joint hearing due to the fact that we are dealing with the same parties and some crossover issues. This is an eviction and a replevin, I believe, or a small claims action requesting a return of the car or money. So we're here today with, we have Herman Smoody and Tina Smoody in person without counsel. We have Victoria Mott in person without counsel. We do have other individuals here, and I'm not sure if they're going to be witnesses or if they're just observing.
Are you asking? I may be a witness.
Well, I'm asking them.
Right.
They're in control of their own case.
I've got one witness.
One witness.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
No
No
witnesses.
witnesses. At this time, I'm going to ask, if you're going to be a witness, sir, you have to step out of the courtroom until it's your time to remain back in the courtroom for the rest of the case.
All right.
All right. The court did receive a filing or something this morning that I had reviewed from you, Ms. Mott, where you're asking to change venues. There's a couple reasons why it's denied. One, you have no proper purpose or reasonable basis to ask to request to change venues in cases like this. Second, it's very untimely. And then again, according to Wisconsin statute 801.51, it's completely discretionary for the court. Unless there is a conflict of interest, there is none. And even to change venues, that wouldn't be possible. It would just be changing judges. So there's no proper reason to change venues to ask to go to Washburn County.
My concern with that was just because of the recent history with my criminal. I feel like it's hard.
No, that happens all the time.
Okay.
All the time.
Okay.
All right, so that is denied. And so we are here on Mr. Smoody and Ms. Smoody's claims against Ms. Mott. And so before we begin, I'm going to have all parties please stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn in.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to provide to the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
You may be seated. All right, so again, we have same parties, somewhat overlapping issues, but not necessarily. Let's start with, we do have the eviction matter. So let's start with that.
Your Honor, I have a question also. I thought at the last hearing with the replevin, you were dismissing that because we already had
No, I
small
wasn't
claims.
dismissing it. I was just moving it to today.
Oh, I didn't know you were joining them. Sorry.
Yes, so that it can be heard
Okay.
today. Because I did hear some of it in the eviction matter, which at the time it was very weird, and it did not connect to the eviction at all. All right, Mr. Smoody, we're going to start with the eviction matter. So this is your case, you have the burden.
She's been evicted. I'm happy with it. I don't have anything further.
Oh, so that's all you're asking for in the eviction?
Yes,
Well, all right, then I'm dismissing the matter. Matter is dismissed.
Even though I'm
because-
would like to
Oh,
counter.
and I can hear your
Okay.
counterclaim, but I'm
Yeah,
dismissing
okay.
his
Okay.
eviction. All right, so then let's move on. You have a counterclaim, Ms. Mott. Let me find that. All right, Ms. Mott.
So you just want me to present what I have? Would you like all the exhibits that I have for you?
You present them when you want me to hear what they relate to.
Okay, so I guess my background on the whole situation, because I know before I was never able to testify or anything.
All of that went away. I wiped the slate clean with the last hearing because I knew that we would need far more time. And
Yep,
so we were out to start anew here today, but you are no longer in the place. And so the eviction is moot, but I will hear your counterclaim.
that doesn't make, okay.
What?
And that just doesn't make sense to me because I thought we were here, and then there was the other claims in it, in my counterclaim. And now that, I don't know, it just doesn't make
I'm
sense to me,
saying
sorry.
you are out of the house, so
Yep,
I
yep.
cannot evict you unless you want an eviction on your record. I could do that.
No,
So
I'm
that's why
just
I'm
trying to
saying-
understand, sorry.
His matter to evict you, gone, but you have a counterclaim in there, which I'm hearing right now.
For money owed, okay. Well, because sorry, I just got to organize myself because everything I had was against, to show where I was overcharged on rent and everything, so I guess.
This is your time to present. If you believe that they or Mr. Smoody owes you money, this is your time to present that.
Well, yeah, at least, can I approach?
For the house, yes.
Can I approach?
These are exhibits. And you have a copy from Mr. Smoody?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So these are handwritten pay stubs from Mr. Smoody. So the whole entire situation, I was being overcharged on rent. And so I also have emails that correspond and state, and I brought in blank calendar, so it's a little easier to follow along with what I paid and where I paid. If you guys want, just a minute. And that's the whole issue arose because I was being overcharged on rent. So I used to work for them. In the beginning, in March, I first confronted Jerry about it. I'm gonna approach again. So that's where I first brought up that he was overcharging me on rent because I had made an $800 deposit February 19th. And so that covers 8 weeks of rent. At that point, I was only 2 weeks behind. So with it being 2 weeks behind, there's still 6 weeks.
Okay.
They,
I know nothing about any agreement that you have, so I don't know if the rent was supposed to be $800 a month.
it was $100 a
So
week.
that's what you have to tell me.
Okay, sorry.
I need to know who, where, what, when, and why. That's okay.
So our agreement was I would pay $100 a week and I paid half of the utilities from September until May 5th when I quit working for them. I quit working for them because I was being overcharged on rent and brought the issue up multiple times to Jerry, which he continued to just take $100 out of my paychecks, which are on those handwritten pay stubs. I was in the process of purchasing a car from them. And so the remainder of my paycheck outside of that $100 a week, he would take towards the car. And I know on those exhibits, it says loan, but it was actually for the car. So when we kept having the issue with him overcharging me or continuing to take rent out when I didn't owe it yet, that's finally May 5th is when I was done. I quit. Like,
I'm not seeing any documentation of $100. Oh, I see one for rent on
Yep, I believe it should be on there somewhere. It'll say rent and then 100.
Oh,
That's a deduction, supposed to be.
all right, okay, I see it now.
And then, so that was the whole issue that started the eviction is I quit working for them. So then instantly they wanted me out. They stopped letting my child and I use the restroom in the home. Instantly, I rented 2 bedrooms, mind you, in the home. And then once it got warmer out, I was moving into the loft above the garage, which in the emails you see, or in these ones, you can see where Jerry referred to me renting the loft. I know in the forms they filed last time we were here, it gave an itemized list
Well,
of.
they're not admitted. I don't have them to look at them, so you can refer to them, but they're not going to be evidence. I don't have them.
So I guess all I can say then is since I stopped working for them, clearly they were taking more money and then we started the eviction process. I didn't feel comfortable handing them more money at that point for the car. I acknowledge that, yes, I did under those still owe them $950 for the car, which I am aware of. Like, I've never said that I didn't. I just wasn't comfortable handing them more money when there was this dispute about how in the first claims with these that aren't here now, they were saying that I owed all this other, like, they came up with all these other things that I owed for when I, didn't.
Ms. Mott, I know that this is causing you to be a little bit anxious
Mhm.
because that's what court does to people. Take a breath, and I need to hear everything from the start to the finish. Right now, I'm just getting a whirlwind of things said, so it's a bit confusing. Right now, I'm just trying to concentrate on the rent, and if you say that you've overpaid. So I would need to know from the first month you've moved in, if it was paid, if it wasn't, if more was taken out, if more wasn't, and where you are on that as it relates to the rent and the utilities only.
Well, by the time that I moved out after the eviction, that was pretty much through when I was overpaid on, in that sense, if that makes sense.
It does not.
So even though I quit May 5th, I was still okay on rent for 4 or 5 more weeks. There were 6 other payments out, that they took out of my check, even though I had that $800 in there. Instantly, they started charging me the $100 out of my paycheck. So
How much do you think you've overpaid in rent? Not talking about the car. How much do you think you've overpaid in rent?
when I quit, by that point, or by the time I moved out?
When you moved out, because that's where we're going to.
2 weeks I still had left.
So you believe that they owe you $200, that you've overpaid $200.
Yep, and then they packed mine and my child's room up before the eviction was even started, and I have video evidence for that.
I need one thing at a time. Where can you show me that you've overpaid $200?
Well, now it's just kind of hearsay, just because we're so far past the eviction. But if you,
Hearsay is a statement of somebody else, not the parties. So I just need to know if you have documentation to show that you paid rent, that you have your pay stubs that show that, or in his handwritten thing, because I'm not understanding. I'm seeing April 11th paid. That's the only date I'm seeing on this ledger. Otherwise, I see no dates.
I know and I brought that issue up to Jerry as well, because I didn't like that there weren't dates on them either. They're handwritten. Where are my taxes that were taken out of it? Can I approach, please?
Yes.
So I'm just getting the blank calendar, so hopefully give you the timeline. And this was the first, when I kept raising the issue of.
Wait until you're back to your table, okay? All right, back to, well, before we begin with the you bringing me up to speed so I know how each thing connects. Mr. Smoody, as it relates to rent only,
Right.
just rent.
Can I approach?
No,
Except-
it's not your time to testify right
Oh,
now.
I'm sorry.
As it relates to rent only, do
Yeah.
you believe that Ms. Mott overpaid $200 or do you contest that?
Absolutely not. I contest that.
Okay, all right, so Ms. Mott, now you can show me how it adds up that you paid $200 more and you moved out, I believe it said June 27th.
I moved out June 10th and I
Okay.
have body cam footage of me there with the U-Haul and a statement that Jerry made to the officer because they took the plates off my car. And the original agreement was when I purchased the car that I paid the insurance, which is listed on those pay stubs as well, the insurance payments.
Oh, so you're saying you paid through to June 27th? That's what you're
Yep.
saying. Okay,
And I moved out, well, the eviction hearing was June 5th, I believe. And so I moved out June 10th, because that's when I was able to get a U-Haul in return to get everything out in one foul swoop. Is there a spot I could plug this in, Your Honor, I
fail,
guess?
one fail swoop.
Oh,
Or fell,
sorry.
one fell swoop. Okay, so what I just need to know is, I need you to show me with your paycheck that he deducted money.
when he wrote the rent 100, that means that's a deduction according to him. So
Is this your paycheck?
those are my pay stubs. Yes, those are what I got for pay stubs, correct. And
Not
that's
legal in
Jerry's,
Any way, shape or form.
that's Jerry's handwriting
And this is for working at a restaurant,
at their cafe, yes.
a
Thank
handwritten.
you. And then he would take the car payments out of there as well.
So, Mr. Smoody, you didn't give real paychecks that showed deductions, like legitimate deductions and taxes and all of those things?
I did not to Tori because she owed me the money, so I was just taking the cash as she worked. My other employees get paychecks.
So you're paying her under the table?
Well, I guess so.
So she didn't have to claim it either? So you didn't have to claim paying an employee and she didn't have to claim getting the income?
I guess so.
That's all illegal. On both ends, it's illegal.
And my current employer, she had helped me out with money for other things. And I still get a pay stub. She takes it as a deduction on my pay stub. I get, you know what I mean?
All right, so I'm already gonna tell you, I don't, with regards to the payment of your wages as well as the documentation of the rent, nobody has any proof. This shows me nothing because there are no dates. There's nothing, there's only one date of April 11th. Otherwise, I have no dates. I have no real confirmation that any money was paid or taken out. This could be from 2024. The only date that resembles a date or numbers that resemble a date is 4/11.
And I wrote that just guesstimating, trying to figure out.
Again, I'll receive exhibit 1 because it's in Mr. Smoody's handwriting, but I'm gonna tell you, it tells me absolutely nothing, so it doesn't confirm, deny, anything like that, so it's useless.
So I guess I don't
So
know. I had anticipated this going totally different with the, original, and I have everything broke down for that. So it's hard for me to like backtrack on everything, if that makes sense. And how that but I guess they can just continue with the car claim. But I do have the I guess I do have the concern of the the self-help eviction from them packing my things before the eviction process was even started. And I have video evidence, time and date stamped of Tina going through and packing my belongings.
Okay, so I need to look at your petition or your counterclaim. Okay, so you did add information with regards to those issues and those claims. So what are you asking of the court?
Well, I quit my job because he was taking money he shouldn't have been. So essentially, that's loss of wages. My son lost his home. You know, I know it wasn't a forever home for us, like we were gonna move out eventually. And then just because I wasn't gonna work for them anymore, I never said I wouldn't pay rent, but they wanted me out instantly because I wasn't helping them anymore. So there's loss of wages there. I moved to Minnesota and then they took the plates off my car. And like I said, when I was there getting my belongings with the U-Haul, I have body cam footage of Jerry telling the cop that he was short circuiting me, taking the plates off in hopes that I would get pulled over and the car get impounded and them take it.
Okay.
So that, so now I had a car that I couldn't legally be driving. And then having to come back for court so much, I got stuck around here again.
So what is your claim for? What are you claiming that they did?
The self-help eviction. They had no grounds to evict me, really. Like, yeah, they didn't want me there, but that isn't technically
They
grounds. I wasn't behind on money.
We didn't have a written lease.
Yep.
So and you were paying weekly. So they only needed to give you 1 week's notice.
I paid monthly all the time. Except for like
Again,
when
I don't
right,
know. It
right.
doesn't show, it shows weekly to me. And then you even.
But those were the
testified-
overpayments that crossed over, sorry, my 800.
Your testimony said, and I wrote it down,
Mhm.
you paid $800 deposit on February 19th. And then from there, you were to pay, your words, not mine, not his, $100 a week and half of the utilities.
No, that wasn't from there. That when I moved in, that's what he wanted was $100 a week, half the utilities. But I always paid mine monthly.
It doesn't matter. It's what he wanted. $100 a week. So it was weekly. It's a weekly
Okay.
rental situation.
Okay.
Okay. So now you're asking the court, you want damages because they packed your stuff up.
They kicked my son out of his room before the eviction process even started. That's not legal. They can't do like,
Well, I'll let you know if it is, but you have
it's a
to.
self-help eviction. Sorry.
Stop.
Sorry.
You just want to talk, and you don't let me say anything. You don't let me tell you what you're telling me isn't telling me anything.
Sorry.
Okay? I need to know specifics. I get that you believe it's a self-help eviction. I get that you believe that all this is illegal. I can't make a determination. Only I get to say
sorry.
that. And again, you talk over me. My court reporter right here, she has a very hard job. She has to take down every single word. She can't do that when people talk over. Okay? So just take a breath and let me ask my questions and tell you what I need to know.
Okay.
Dates are very important. So I don't have any dates of which any of this occurred. Again, the who, the where, the what, the why, the when.
The when would be May 16th, 2025 is when she was going through my room. I don't know how to get it to play on this, like to transfer it over.
I have to give you permission to do that.
Okay, could I do that,
First,
please?
you need to tell me what it is you want to play.
I want to play a video of Tina packing my belongings before the eviction was filed.
All right. And so you're all hooked up.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, we're just gonna have you pick up and swap sides because we're having issues with that technology over there and we need to get that figured out. There we go.
So here's a video. Oh, I guess it's lagging.
And what, I have to stop you though.
Mhm.
Here's the thing. Do you have that on a little computer stick?
I do,
Because
actually,
I need to take that, otherwise I need to either take your computer or not have it as evidence.
okay, because yeah, at the initial in front of Croup, I had it and I didn't realize to bring my
Did you give
computer.
it?
No, he said he couldn't take it because, you know, the chance of what if it was corrupt or something. So it's in my backpack, I believe, otherwise it's not physically on me. Because that's why I brought this time, because I was told that I
Okay.
couldn't give a stick.
Here's the thing. No, we give the stick because we have to give it to the clerks just for appeals purposes and all of those
Mhm.
things. You can play it. But it may or may not be able to be used if anything's appealed. Just giving you that warning, because it's just gonna be played and it's not gonna be part of the evidence. But you can play it.
Okay. I don't. Oh, I think it's playing a different video. Just a moment. Yep, that's Mr. Smuty talking to the officer about short circuiting me with my car. I guess I'll play this first since it's up and playing. Sorry for the
What am I
confusion.
watching?
This is the body cam footage from the day I went and got my belongings and them making me give the plates off my car in order to get my belongings. It's hard to hear, I guess. Sorry.
Well, no, as long, if you have the title, she can't, I mean, she ain't gonna be able to go and do it. I mean, you don't need plates to get it titled. You have to have the title to get it titled.
Right, that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. So I have the title,
Yeah, she ain't gonna be able to do nothing.
yeah, so she can't take the car, and if she drives it,
Well, if she drives it, she'll get stopped with no plates, but
Yeah.
I mean, she can take it wherever she wants with no plates. I mean, it's not,
it doesn't matter then if she gets stopped. If she gets stopped, what, do they tow it then somewhere?
well, they may, or they may just give her a ticket and say, get it registered. So,
And she has no way of getting it registered.
yeah, with no title, yep. So,
So by getting the plates, I'm short circuiting.
yeah, I mean, several people drive around with no plates on it.
Yeah.
I mean, they eventually get stopped and get tickets, but
Especially in Minnesota or
they'll find it. I mean, they'll find it if that's where she's going. Where's she planning on moving to?
Princeton.
Okay. I'm gonna move my squad so that they can get around easier.
And that's it for that video.
All right.
Just a moment, sorry. So this is May 16th at
You have it documented? Yes, May 16th.
packing my things. This was before the eviction was filed, I believe. And then with the car, I gave total at the end of me ending my employment, I had paid $3,300 for the car. I gave him $2,500 up front. At which,
I just want to stick with the rent first and the eviction.
I feel like the rent, I don't know,
Well,
because
the rent, we've already addressed the rent, but your other issues, you said self-help eviction, you said other damages. So what are you asking? I know May 16th, you said, I got one date of May 16th, 2025 with the video, she packed her stuff up.
yeah, I don't know. And then before, I don't have proof of it though, so that's why I'm hesitating, because it's like, is it worth saying it, you know?
Well, you can say it.
Um,
It goes to me to determine the weight and if
Okay.
it is credible or all of those things.
Okay, before I quit May 5th, I had started staying in the loft, I believe, the end of April. And so my son's room was still in the home. But then my son started staying in the loft with me instead of in the home, and they packed his belongings up on, I believe, and threw them all in the garage.
When did you move into the loft? In April?
I believe the end of April. I don't have the exact date. I didn't, I
Let's
never
just say,
anticipated.
okay,
anything.
last week of April, but then she packed your stuff up from the house bedroom, May 16th?
Yep, May 16th. Correct. But before then, she had already removed my son from his room.
But he was already living in the loft with you?
But that wasn't intended. Like they just, like, one day we got home and his things weren't in his room anymore. And then I believe their granddaughter moved into that room.
How long did your son stay in the loft with you before his things were moved out?
Maybe a night or two. Because he kept asking to stay the night up there and, you know what I mean? And so he had his room. He didn't need to. And because why would I have him sleep on a couch when his bed was set up in the house? Why I paid for the bedroom. Where the heck did that just go? Sorry.
Well, he could have wanted to just be with you if the loft is outside and and his bedroom was in the house.
Yeah. Well, we hung out there most of the night anyways, up until bedtime, or we'd be out to dinner. And then Jerry and Tina, up until I quit working for them, they would help watch my child so I could work because I was working multiple jobs. No, I can't find the one piece of paper I had. Just a second. Oh, here it is right here. Sorry. So, okay, so it was May 14th, they packed Zayden's room up on him. And then on May 13th, they turned the power, we returned to the loft and the power was shut off to the loft. And the garage door was locked, so I couldn't turn the breaker back on. I actually made a police report that day. I called the police to get it turned back on. And then as soon as I spoke with one of the officers, they must have called them and then it was switched back on. Again, I believe that was before the eviction process started. May 20th or 16th is when, May 20th is when she packed all of my, like, everything out of the room and then removed the camera and everything. And then May 6th is when they stopped letting us use the restroom and the shower in the home. After I had just paid a week prior $70 to have the septic pumped. And that's about all I have on that. I guess it's kind of.
So that's your second claim.
I guess.
Okay. All right. Do you have a witness for this? Is your witness for this or the witness for the vehicle?
I guess it could be both. Well, I don't know how he could be for the vehicle except for their own history with purchasing a vehicle. But
All right.
so the rent more or less, but sorry.
And he would not be able to testify to that because he's not an expert. So if he has any information as to this eviction matter,
No, I don't believe so because by that time they were moved, him and his girlfriend were moved out of the home.
okay. All right. So you don't need him to testify.
No, I guess it was more or less for the credibility of what they were claiming initially, but we didn't do the whole thing, so.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Smoody, as it relates to this eviction matter and the claims that she's alleging with, as she terms, self-help eviction.
Okay.
And Ms. Smoody, in this case, you can't help him anymore. If you're going to be a witness, he can call you up here to testify, but this is his case alone.
Okay. She moved in on September 7th. And then she was going to stay at the house while we went to Arizona for the winter. And prior to us leaving, we had a meeting. I took him down and bought him lunch and laid out the rules for the time that we were to be gone. And the very last thing on the rules says have somewhere else to live by April 1st. So she knew that she had to be out of there by April 1st. When we ended up getting back about a month and a half earlier than we intended. We came back the middle of February. And because we're nice people, we said she could stay until school is out, which we allowed her to do. In the meantime, our daughter had gotten into some trouble and had her kids taken away. So we ended up with two of her kids, a 15-year-old boy and a 17-year-old girl. We were trying to get full custody of them or guardianship of them. CPS said we could not get guardianship as long as she was there because she had a conviction on her record and could not be around children. So that's why we were so desperate to get her out of there. We tried to move her, she wouldn't go. So then I filed for eviction and then it was granted. The last day that she was paid for rent was May 2nd. I have the documentation to prove that if need be, but she stayed then an additional 6 weeks without paying any rent whatsoever or anything on utilities.
What about moving her out of her bedroom?
The bedrooms. We,
Again,
we need.
Same thing to you. If I'm talking, you're not. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So I need to know about the packing up of the bedroom she rented for her in the house, the bedroom for her son. I need to know if you stopped her from using the bathroom as well as the shutting off the electric.
Yes. So the original agreement was she only was going to have one bedroom. She was supposed to be in there with her son. Well, then it ended up her boyfriend moved in there and then she moved in and we didn't charge her anything extra for the second bedroom. We were desperate to have a place for our grandchildren to stay. They were having to share a loft of, 17-year-old girl, 15-year-old boy sharing a loft. Well, teenagers like some privacy. So we really needed the room. So I called the deputy sheriff out and asked him what I could do about it while we were waiting for court to get her evicted. He said,
No, can't tell me what he said. And I'm going to tell you, not only is that hearsay, he's not a lawyer.
okay. Well, we were told to take pictures.
Tell me what anyone told you
Okay.
to do. You can tell me what you did.
Okay, we took pictures and documented everything. And then packed it up and moved it out to the garage so that we would have those bedrooms available for our grandchildren.
Did you talk with Miss Mott?
Yes, I actually have it in writing, but I didn't make copies. But where I told her that she had to get her stuff out, and I verbally told her a dozen times or more.
When?
Every day I would tell her, Tori, you need to pack up, you need to get your stuff out of here. I need these rooms.
What date?
Well, from the time May 2nd, when she was last paid through for the entire month, I was trying to get her out for more than a month. I was trying to get her out of there. And then she voluntarily moved out to the loft.
Why do you believe she voluntarily moved out?
So that she could be with her boyfriend. And at that point, babysitting her son was left to us. I'd have to get him up for school in the morning. I'd have to meet him for the bus when he came home, have to feed him, clean up behind him. That went on for over a month.
So tell me about this loft and the discussion to have her move out to the loft.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Tell me the discussion about the loft, when she moved out to the loft. What was that discussion?
I believe she told my wife that she was going to move out
Tell
to
me
the,
what she told, well, you can tell me,
well, all I know is that she voluntarily moved out there. That I did not tell her she had to or could to. I didn't want her in the loft, to be honest. I wanted her gone.
so then school was done on May 2nd?
In that general vicinity, yes.
Whose school? You said she could
School-
stay until the school was over. Are you talking about, was she in school? Her son was?
Her son, when her son got out of school.
But you told her, you told her after you got back in mid-February that she could stay until school was done. Her son's school was done, correct?
That's correct. So we basically extended her another month. She was supposed to be out April 1st. We let her stay all of April.
Okay. So you didn't tell her she had to go to the loft. You believe she just made that choice?
I know that for a fact, yes. I would not have told her, I didn't want her in the loft, so I would not have told her to go there. And she was well aware of CPS and the situation that we were
I
with.
don't want to hear about CPS because you don't have a CPS worker to testify.
Okay.
So I have nothing to go off of anything that would
Okay, Your Honor.
relate to that matter.
Okay.
All right, is that all you would like me to know on, what about the electricity?
Okay, the sheriff showed up at my place. And so we went into the garage. I built that garage, so I know the garage. There's 8 breakers in that garage, electrical breakers. And she had overloaded one of the circuits upstairs. We went up there and saw she had an air conditioner. It was a really hot day. Air conditioner, 2 fans and some other stuff all plugged into one circuit. So the sheriff unplugged one of the fans. And then I put the breaker back on and it stayed on. I did not intentionally turn it off. It was her fault for overloading a breaker.
All right, did you tell her not to do that? That she would overload a breaker if she used it all in one circuit?
I didn't tell her up front, but I mean, that's common sense, I think.
Maybe common sense for you, maybe common sense for me, because that's how my parents raised me, but some people aren't raised the same way. So they don't know about electricity, they don't know about breakers, they don't know about circuits, they don't know about sockets.
I understand, and I also didn't want her in the loft, so, I wouldn't have given her instructions at all. She was there squatting illegally.
Again, I'm gonna tell you, I get to make that legal decision, not you, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I'm hearing all of the facts so I can make that kind of decision. You can't help him, Miss Moody, this is not your case.
I'm not saying anything.
You can't point, you can't touch, you can't whisper, you can't,
I
it's his
wasn't
case.
Doing anything.
I'll get to you when I have a question.
Sorry.
All right. So what about the restroom situation?
I'm sorry?
The restroom, the bathroom?
Well, once they were out of there, I have a severe case of IBS. And my family works with me on that. I have a little bit of a notice if there's a possibility I'm gonna have to
Again,
run.
you're gonna give me excuses as to why a landlord withheld the bathroom. That's not an.
She was already out. She was in the loft. She was no longer in the house.
Is there a bathroom in the loft?
No, but there's a bathroom outside. There's a porta potty.
Porta potty. Is there a shower?
No,
Okay. So you withheld restroom facilities, including the ability to be able to clean herself and her son? Because you have IBS? Yes?
yes.
All right. All right, so I have one question.
Yes.
When was school done for your son?
I believe it was June 4th. It was the first week of June.
Okay. Do you have any other information you would like me to know?
I would just like it stated that I was there when they turned the power back on and no officer was there with them to turn that power on.
That's not relevant. That doesn't
Okay,
matter to me
sorry.
one way or another if an officer was there or not there.
Mhm.
Okay. So now I've heard that matter. Now we're going to move on to the vehicle matter, and then I will make a joint decision in order. Vehicle.
Okay. Tori was working for us when we came back from the cafe, or from Arizona, working at the cafe. And one day her car broke down.
And you're talking about Joe Mama's restaurant?
Joe Mama's, yes. Her car broke down, so she couldn't get back and forth to work. So the first time, I actually gave her a ride. And then I told her that we had a car. The reason we had a car is that we had sold that car to my daughter, and with the idea she was gonna drive it through the winter. When we came back in the spring, she was gonna use her taxes to pay for that car. I had a lien on that car of $4,500, so I could not sell it until that lien was done. So the only way I could sell the car is if I got the $4,500 up front. When we got back, my daughter did not have it. She was going to use her taxes, did not get enough from her taxes to pay me. So I basically took the car back from her. So then I told Tori, well, you can use the car, lend it to you to go back and forth to work at Joe Mama's. Because we needed her to be able to get there, obviously. We needed her for work. Well, Tori, like she does, pushed the envelope. Pretty soon she was using it to drive to her second job. Then she was using it to drive to Rice Lake to go shopping, and she was just generally using it. So I went to her and told her, Tori, the deal was you were supposed to only get it to drive back and forth to work. And then she inquired about buying it. And I said, the only way I can sell it is if I get $4,500 up front, because I can't get the title to sign it over to you until I have $4,500. She said, oh, I've got that. I said, okay, then I'll sell it to you. So I drew up a contract. She refused to sign it, which was puzzling to me. Then I said, well, where's the money? And she said, it's in my savings. I have to get it to you $500 at a time because I can only draw out $500 a day. So I said, okay. And so then the first day she came to me with $1,000. I go to her the next day, you got the $5? No, I didn't get into town. And there was excuses. This drug on for about 10 days and I'd get 500 and then another 500 2 or 3 days later, to a total of $2,500 that she got. And then when I asked her again, she said, I don't have any more money. And I said, I can't sell you the car until I have the full $4,500. I got to pay off this lien. You breached the deal. And so she said, well, I don't have any more. I said, well, then I need the car back. So she refused to give it to me. So I called the deputy sheriff again, and he came out, and I said, how do I get this car back? Can you make her give me my car back?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell all of you people right now. The deputy sheriffs are not lawyers. Plus, this is a legal court issue. It's not a law enforcement issue. Y'all calling the cops for issues that are not for them to dissolve or to resolve. So our deputies, instead of going and trying to find cartel members, trying to take care of drug issues and drug dealing and homicides and sexual assaults, you're calling them out for an issue that should have come in front of the court, not in front of a deputy. So we're using our officers for these things instead of coming to the court and filing your action right away? Yes?
I was desperate. I wanted to get my car back.
Then you file an action with the court.
And that's what he told me.
Exactly. So he had to waste probably at least 2 hours of his day, if not 3, to go over to talk to you to say, you got to file a civil matter with the court. Instead of, again, patrolling the streets, finding drug dealers, solving homicides, solving sexual assaults, real crime.
I've learned my lesson on that. I won't ever do it again.
Okay. So you have the sheriff, he said, file an action.
I'm sorry.
The deputy sheriff said, you have to file a court.
Yeah, file court, yeah.
Okay.
So then I went to Tori and said, I will give you your money back. Give me the car. And she refused again.
So when did you come up with this deal for taking the loan amount out of her paycheck?
Well, that loan amount was actually wasn't going toward the car. It was going toward the other things, as you saw on that stub: rent, utilities, insurance. One of the things, she was not carrying insurance on the car, so I had to take out an insurance policy.
You defined her rent and utilities as a loan?
Well, it's money she owed me. It would be money that she owed me, yes.
Makes no sense. Usually when things don't make sense, it's not true.
I guess it's the way I have any of my employees that owed me money. It was always just loan, or for a better term to call it, money. Instead of writing money owed me, I just wrote loan,
Again, it doesn't make sense, because if we're starting at the beginning and we're looking at this, you don't go, okay, she's gonna live with me, or we have a 6-month rent, or lease, because then we're dealing with a 6-month lease instead of a week to week to week lease, which it's been defined as. But you're saying you're defining all of over the span of time what you think she's gonna owe you, and you're saying it's a loan, then you're deducting out of her paycheck?
Deducting what?
You're deducting her rent, her utilities out of her paycheck because you've calculated 6 months or 5 months of what she's gonna owe you?
No, I calculated as she owed me. It was never where I owed her money or took more than she actually owed me.
Then I just don't understand the identification of loan when it's supposed to be rent and utilities.
I would give her a separate slip saying your electric was this much, your septic was this much. That was not part of the paycheck.
All right. So you think that she still owes you $2,000 for the
Correct.
car?
That's correct.
So where's documentation of any of the amount that she's paid you?
There was none. She paid me cash, and I didn't give her receipts for it because I was waiting until I got to 4,500, and then I was going to pay off the car and then sign the title over to her.
When did she get the car from you?
That would have been in the middle of March, or about the 14th of March.
And when did she pay you that $1,000?
That would have probably been about the 16th. I don't have the exact date. I'm sorry.
The what?
I don't have the exact date, but I'm guessing it was about March 16th.
And when did she pay you the additional 1,500?
Sweet. Well, it would have been, 3 or 4 days, hence 3 or 4 days, 500, 500, 500. Again, I did not document dates. I only documented amounts because I was hoping to add up to $4,500.
All right, okay. What else would you like me to know?
Okay, then I was told
By who?
by my wife
Well, then she can testify to that.
that Tori had hit a deer with the
She
car.
can testify to that. She will when you call her as a witness or when she wants to provide her side of the story, because she'll be able to give her own testimony.
Okay, well, I know then that
You
Tori,
can't tell me,
I'm sorry,
I mean, you can tell me if Tori told you she hit a deer. Because
she did not. She told my wife,
And then so that your wife gets to testify to that part,
right?
okay? So anything related to the deer, your wife gets to testify.
Okay. I do have an estimate of damages done to the vehicle by hitting that deer that I would like to put in.
Well, what are you asking for? What do you want the court to do with the car? You can't get damages and $2,000.
I am showing that the car is worth less than what she bought it because of the 1,500 or the damage to the car.
So you want her, okay, to pay less than
So
that?
I would like to have this deducted from the $2,500 that she paid me.
No, because if you're asking for $2,000, then she has the car. She can blow it up for all.
If she gives me
matters.
$2,000, then yeah, she can have the car.
So that's why I'm asking, what are you asking of the court? Do you want the car back?
Yes, I want the car back,
So you don't want $2,000.
but I don't want to have to pay her to get the car back. I wanted this amount and another amount deducted from the value of the car because she has devalued the car.
You can't give me an estimate unless you have an individual here to testify about that estimate, such as the person that gave you that estimate, which would be the body shop or the car dealer or whoever gave you that estimate needs to be here to testify as to that estimate.
A legal written estimate is not admissible.
It's hearsay. Because did you prepare it?
No, but the body shop did.
Exactly. That's why you need Mr. Joe Schmo up here to be able to testify as to the estimate that he prepared. Otherwise, it's a legal document that you're using as evidence to prove your point. In layman's terms.
Okay, and the second item is she removed the catalytic converter from the car and sold it. And I do have an estimate, but obviously that's not admissible either, replacing a catalytic converter. And it's illegal to drive a car without a catalytic converter in Wisconsin. Excuse me, which she has been doing. She also has illegal license plates that are expired on the car. She's used that car in commission of a crime, which she's been convicted of, and has not carried insurance on that, forcing me to carry insurance on that car. So she owes me for the insurance. She owes me for filing fees.
Okay.
And damage to the car, but
So they're asking for her to reimburse you insurance?
reimburse insurance, reimburse filing fees. Plus, when she left Joe Mama's, she did not turn in her keys, said she wouldn't turn in the keys until the rent was resolved. So I sent her a note, which I have a copy of, and a copy saying that I gave her a date and said that I was gonna have to change the locks and charge her for that. So I did, and it cost me $300 to change the locks on all the buildings at Joe Mama's because she had keys and access to get there. So,
But you don't have a counterclaim. You're just,
no, here's the deal, Your Honor. Tori and I were friends. I have many reasons to hate her, but I don't. My only objective is to get our car back. I have not slept for the 7 months that it's taken me to get this back because I'm concerned that she's gonna go out and kill somebody in that car, and the car is still in our name, and I would be liable for it. And so I don't want to bury her. She's got enough problems now. I don't want to claim on finances or anything. I just want my car back, and I don't want to have to pay to get it back. That's my situation now. I don't want to bury her in debt or with all this. Just give me my car back, please.
all right, Ms. Moody, now you can provide some testimony or other information that perhaps you don't believe Mr. Smoody was able to present to the court, your take of the case. Yes. And can you move the microphone to you, please?
Sorry. Main thing about the car is the license plates I had on that vehicle were personalized. I don't believe I can transfer a personalized plate to someone else.
And you have them, right? You took them off?
Yes. I don't know an exact date. After she purchased the car that she had told me, it was a couple of weeks after that, about a week after she had it, she had hit a deer with it. And so I did document the damage. It was on the front fender on the passenger side. Nothing real major, but the fact of the matter, it was still damaged.
Anyone have pictures?
We do.
Right, if you want to get them admitted, please. Ms. Mott, have you seen the pictures?
I have not.
If you want to come up here and take a look first before I get them. All right, Ms. Moody.
All right. And then as far as the catalytic converter goes, I had a customer that would come in occasionally that was friends with Tori, helped her work on a car in.
Tell me what he said you can't.
Okay. Then nothing.
All right. Ms. Mott,
Yes.
it is now your time to present your case.
So I just want to start off by, my car wasn't broken down when I started driving the Explorer. I handed them money before I ever got the keys. My boyfriend went and got the Explorer from his daughter with him and then brought it to the home. Mind you, I have to get to and from work. There was never an agreement for me to use the car. I gave them money first.
When do you believe you gave them money?
It would have been the end of March. And I could look on my phone and get an exact date from when I withdrew the money.
Well, if
I know, sorry.
Mr. Smoody is saying that it was around March 13th, 14th, or 15th, would that be correct?
That's when I thought they got back from Arizona, if I can recall correctly, was the beginning of March, I thought. So it wasn't that soon after they had gotten back, I don't think,
They
at
had
least.
testified previously that was the middle of February.
When they got home. I don't recall exactly. I know that I made an $800 deposit on February 19th and they weren't home then. They had gotten home like a week or two after that deposit.
I thought I recalled February 22nd, but Maybe I'm,
It was a week or two after I made that deposit. That's all I know. Cause I was like, wow, I just made that, deposit and they're home. Like,
all right.
otherwise I wouldn't have worried about getting that far ahead at the time, just so I didn't have to deal with going to the bank making deposits when I didn't go into Spooner often. Anyways. So the initial agreement was I gave them the $2,500 up front. They never told me there was a lien on the car. I had no idea about that until the hearing with Krupa when they filed the de novo. Was the first time I heard anything about a lien being on the car.
Now, I have a question.
Mhm.
What was your agreement with them about the purchase of the vehicle?
I gave them the $2,500 up front, and then with my pay, he would just take out of there, like the remainder, and so, which I was fine with. Cause then it guaranteed that it was getting paid off. And there was never an issue with I could see that he was taking out of my check and the balance, there was never a dispute with the balance going down or it not going down.
I need you to explain. I don't understand. He would take like the balance of your check or whatever.
So I wanted him to take the car, whatever he could out of my paycheck because my hours varied. So then he continued to take rent out. So then the rest he would deduct. So like most of the time during 1 week, I'd get like a $7 paycheck because the remainder after $100 would go towards the car. If that makes sense. And then that's when I started disputing him continuing to take rent out of my check because again, that could have gone towards the car and I could have had that paid off sooner. Because from my calculations, I didn't owe rent. And so the initial agreement, after I gave them $2,500 up front and I paid the insurance, which is listed on the pay stub. That's all I was told I had to pay. And actually, from my understanding, I overpaid $25 on what he had told me I was supposed to pay it. On insurance, he told me it was $150 for 6 months. So if you look at where he took out insurance, there was a $75 and $100 one.
I need to know where it says on what you're saying is your paycheck, which is
Yeah.
not at all a legal paycheck, where it says that a loan amount is being deducted.
So where it says loan and that balance keeps going down, that was the car. He's referring, so it doesn't specifically show like minus or anything, which is frustrating. So that's when the numbers just keep going down and you have to actually like look at them to see what was taken out.
That's why I need you to explain it to me because I'm looking at
Okay,
it
just a
and it
second.
makes no sense.
Okay, just a second. Let me pull the originals out. And again, there was never dates written on these, and so, which I was frustrated about because how do I know what dates I'm being paid for? But so where one of them says, it's this one here, it starts with Tuesday 9/15. And then the loan balance starts at 1,800 there.
Okay.
Okay.
Explain.
So for my understanding, I owed 2,000 before he wrote this. So the 2,000 or the 200 went towards the car. So now my loan balance would be 1,800 or the car balance.
But I'm seeing a total of 277.
Again, he didn't draw it out like and deduct. So then if you go to where the balance goes down to 1,680, again, it doesn't show, but the math is correct between the two stubs, if that makes sense. So rent $100, that dropped my paycheck down to 121. Wait, that's not it. Or that one, he took 270 for it, I believe. 182, I don't recall. I don't know, because I was just as confused, honestly, and frustrated. So every time I got a new pay stub, that is what my new total for the car was at.
Did you ever get money for working?
$7 sometimes. Because he'd take the remainder. So this one, he would have taken 150. So I would have gotten $7 in my envelope. Another one, yeah. Yep.
Where's this 150 you're talking about?
Sorry, what was that? Sorry,
150?
I'm not sure. No. Okay, so right here, the last one was the lowest loan amount listed on there. So it says loan 950, so car pay, like car, that's what I owed on my car. So it says above that, the 157, he would have taken 150, applied that to my car, and that's why it's down to 950 from 1,100.
Where does it say you got anything in an envelope?
Well, that's what he would give me these in. It would be in an envelope with a couple dollars, like individually. That was my paid check in an envelope every week. Is his handwritten hours. And so the only dispute like that we ever ran into was when he continued to take rent out, and I had was already paid on rent. And so, and again, that's the whole reason why I quit. Because I'm not going to let you keep taking money I don't owe you yet. It would have been different had he applied it to the car, so I could have just gotten that paid off. Right, if that makes sense. But when I believed and I could show that I'm paid through these weeks on rent and you continue to take it out of my check every week, that's where, and so as soon as I quit, that is when all hell broke loose. And they wanted me out, they wanted my car, you know.
And
So
none of this makes sense. This is the worst documentation that I've seen in a very long time. It
So-
makes no sense.
no, so my understanding was, yes, I did. The remaining balance of what I owed for the car was $950. I never said I didn't, nothing, but then we started going to court, and with our current situation and my disputing him taking more money he should have, I didn't trust giving him more money at that time until we were through this process. You know, and then I had a car at that point that I couldn't even legally drive to. The only option I had was Minnesota.
What else do you want me to know about the car?
I don't know. The cats were never cut off of it. I guess I don't know if that's even relevant, but
What?
the catalytic converter was never cut off of it. The car's too new. It wouldn't drive had I cut those off.
Well, it could, it just makes a whole lot more noise.
And the gas mileage would be horrible, and I'm not that stupid, honestly, to be honest.
Okay, you would cut it off, but I'm gonna.
Well, or have anyone else do it. I was never that hard up on money.
No, what I was gonna say
Oh,
though is
sorry.
people do it. In this county, people do it.
Oh, I
Try
guess.
and sell them to get money. So I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm not saying it's not on there, and I'm not saying that you did it or had anyone do it. It's something that happens. Happened to my nephew.
Mhm.
Bought a new car, off it went. All right.
No, so on record, they're still on there as far as I could physically see myself.
So you want the car?
Yeah, I want the title. I have had this car that I can't legally drive. You know, so it's hard to. So I moved back from Minnesota for court because of it.
Okay, all right. Mr. Smoody, any response or any other testimony you want to provide?
The only thing, if you are returning the car to me, she's had 7 months of wear and tear on that car. Prior to our agreement, I put brand new tires all the way around, $800 it cost me.
Well, you're adding more things that you didn't have in your first part, so you can't add that because you can only provide testimony off of what she just said.
Okay? I would prefer to have the car back If she's willing to give me the $2,000 that she still owes on it, then that's fine, but it has to be cash. It has to be,
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
I
in
love
full.
how y'all want to make my decision for me.
I'm sorry.
I
I'm
love that
sorry.
you all know the law and I don't.
I'm sorry. As far as I'm concerned, that car is still on loan. She breached the contract of selling it by not paying me the full $4,500 like we had agreed on. And at that point, then I called off the deal. It was no longer a sale. So she is, against my will, borrowing that car for the last 7 months.
All right. Court is receiving Exhibit 1. And this exhibit is going to be in both of the files. Court is receiving Exhibit 9, the photos, and that is going to be, what? Yeah, the file for the car is 25 SC 142. This is a joint decision because again, it's very connected, very together with the financial arrangement that the parties have reached or closely reached with both issues. With regards to 25 SC 142 in the eviction matter, Mr. Smoody, you testified that your agreement with Ms. Mott, when you came back in the middle of February from Arizona, that she could stay until the end of the school year with her son, and that the lease would go until the end of the school year. Even though it originally was supposed to end April 1st, you reached another agreement separate from the first agreement in which you agreed and you extended the lease from a week to week, from whenever you told her in the middle of February. The lease then started then until the end of the school year. School years end, I believe, Ms. Mott, that it was around June 4th, 5th, or 6th. That's when the schools end in Burnett County, unless there's some odd situation like construction and then they end somewhere else. So your lease agreement with Ms. Mott was to be until the end of the school year, to be at least the first week of June. So through at least June 8th. Whether or not it extended a day after the school year or the weekend after the school year or the next week or anything other than that, I have no confirmation. I have no statement or testimony from either side. So the agreement that you reached with Ms. Mott was to be until the end of the school year, at least the first week of July, and that included her ability to rent those 2 rooms in your house. Not the loft, those 2 rooms. And although I have a great understanding and I appreciate the fact that you were going to be great grandparents and take your 15 and 17-year-old grandchildren in with you, you had no legal right to do any actions that would lead Ms. Mott to be out of those 2 rooms or to move to the loft. And you testified, Mr. Smoody, that you did not want her in the loft. That means she had every right to continue into those 2 bedrooms in the home. But from hearing the testimony from both sides, you may have been friends at one time, you may have been co-workers at one time, but this is there's an agitated relationship, there's a frustrated relationship, there's anger in between both of you. I fully believe that whatever occurred when you went to court or got the children, your grandchildren, through CPS to have them with you, I believe that you tried to change the deal or do actions that caused Ms. Mott to want to get out and go to the loft. So, but that wasn't the deal. She rented those 2 rooms in your house until the end of the school year. As to the electricity, there's not enough for the court to even determine that it was shut off on purpose. I understand breakers and circuits. I'm not an electrician, but I understand it that much. But I do understand overloading them. So I tend to believe Mr. Smoody more that the breaker just needed it flipped. But as to the bathroom, you had no legal right to restrict her or her son from using the restroom, from using a shower, from using those types of things that she had a lease for, an oral lease for, until the end of the school year. You couldn't do that. Not only is it inhuman, it's awful and terrible and illegal. You can't do that. You were a landlord. You rented rooms. You could not do that. You made it uninhabitable. You made it a terrible living situation for Ms. Mott and her son. You can't do that. And the fact that there's a porta potty, shame on you. That is awful. When we go to the vehicle and we look at the car, again, pay stubs, not legal pay stubs, make no sense. But they make enough sense in hearing the testimony from both sides where the court can go off of it and make a determination and make a judgment and decision based upon these to the best of my ability. You have rent written on there as a deduction from the hours she worked. Then you have a loan amount. This loan amount keeps going down. On a separate entry, you have another deduction for insurance. And there, her balance of her pay stub that week was to be $87. And underneath it, you say $80 to the car. Ms. Mott testified that some weeks she received only $7 in her envelope. I believe that's accurate and true. And I believe that your pay stubs, again, if you call them that, not only reflects a deduction for rent from the pay, a deduction of insurance, but a deduction from the car loan. And in looking at these 3 pages, it starts at $1,800. You testified that she owed you $2,000 to finish paying off that vehicle, $2,000. Then you look at the first pay stub and it deducts, like, her total of hours and her wages is $377. You deduct the $100 for the rent. There's $277. The loan balance now says $1,800. The court then presumes and can follow based upon the testimony of Ms. Mott that she received $77 in her envelope that week. And so it deducted the loan of $2,000 that was still remaining, or the amount remaining on the vehicle, down to $1,800 when you took the $200 from her paycheck. So your documentation, although confusing and not legal and not great, is your downfall. Because the last entry for the loan states that the loan amount that was still remaining is $950. And that's in your writing, your ledger, your proof to the court. So there was $950 still remaining. As to insurance, again, there are deductions made for insurance, $100 on one, $25 on another. So in all of the evidence and proof for exhibits and through the testimony, the loan amount remained $950 for the vehicle. That's all she would owe you, $950. But I'm going to tell you the terrible actions that you did as a landlord, as well as a human being. I'm ordering that Ms. Mott have $950. You owe her $950. So that wipes out the loan of the car. That wipes out any money she owes you. You must turn over the title to Ms. Mott. The damage is hers and hers to take care of. If there's not a catalytic converter, that's hers and hers to deal with. She owns the car. She owes you no money. You owe her no money. But she has a right to have that title and to have that title within 10 days. And it must be transferred immediately to your name because the law says, I believe within, I think it says 30 days, but I can't recall off the top of my head. You must get it in your name immediately. You must have it insured immediately because that is the law. And then you will get your plates through the mail, but you'll get a temporary plate.
Okay.
So you have the title with you today.
Yes, I do.
All right, then just sign it over and we'll take care of it today.
For 6 weeks rent that she never paid.
You didn't ask for that, Mr. Snooty. You asked for no damages in your eviction. So you get no damages. That's why. If you have legal questions, you must talk to a lawyer. Is there still a lien on the title?
No, Your Honor.
No, there is not. All right, so that handles that situation.
Your Honor, after the last hearing with Krupa, that's when I looked up on the DMV about the lien. And when I called the bank that the lien was under, they said that they should have a release of lien form to hand me, but, or maybe it's just the title now, if they got that in time, I'm not quite sure. I just want to
I've got it.
make sure my bases are covered.
All right, then the release of lien and the title must be presented. You have both of them. Present them to Ms. Mott as soon as they are signed, and then everything should be good to go. Everything needs to be in real written writing with words. And Mr. Smoody, you cannot run a business with ledgers like that or pay steps like that. It could get you into legal trouble.
She was a unique situation. I'm
unique
legal with
situation.
everybody else.
There's no unique situation.
Yeah.
Especially when you have other dealings involved, such as a lease and such as a vehicle. It's only going to get you into trouble, not the person that you're supposed to be dealing with. Because you are held at a higher level. You're a business owner, you're a landlord, and you're putting yourself in the position of a seller of a vehicle. It's on you to make sure that things are done properly. Well, and you should have followed up too, Ms. Mott, because those pay stubs.
$4,500.
All right. There you are. Then we are done and we are adjourned.
Thank you.
The court calls case number 25, Be Like Berkeley E 03806. This is People of the City of Berkeley versus Bianca Raquel Williams. That's you?
Yes,
Thank you, Ms. Williams. You were present earlier today when the court explained the informal hearing procedure, correct?
correct.
So you understood the court to instruct you that you must select from one of three options protecting your own rights, correct?
Yes,
Very well. Ms. Williams, the citation before the court was issued on July 29 this year at approximately 5:45. You were operating a 2018 Dodge, white in color, westbound on 11 Mile Road, at or near Coolidge Highway in the city of Berkeley. And at that place and time, you violated Michigan's hands-free law in as much as you were operating, using, holding, or touching a mobile electronic device. So that is a 0-point violation, but today's your day in court. You may admit responsibility in this manner. You can admit and explain, or you can deny responsibility, and the court will swear the parties and will take testimony. What do you wish the court to do for you?
I would like to admit with explanation.
Very well. So you're confirming to the court that on the date in question, you were operating a motor vehicle in the city of Berkeley and you were holding, touching, or using a mobile electronic device in violation of Michigan hands-free, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. Court appreciates and accepts your plea. What do you want the court to know?
That basically I work really hard and I'm a very busy person. I actually run and work at a business that's within a mile from like me going home. I wasn't, in an accident. I wasn't speeding. I wasn't doing anything else at that time that made me negligent to operating my vehicle safely. And I mean, it really comes down to like I just work very hard and I'm a single mom on a limited income, and that ticket cost me almost $300. I know I received something that said I could do some type of they mailed me something, some type of course that I could do where they would take the ticket off my record. But the biggest thing for me is that it financially to make ends meet, you know what I mean? It's not easy out here. And I'm just hoping that maybe there's, something else that can be done in, relation to it. I get calls, commonly I get calls from the office right after I leave because the assistants have to ask me a lot of questions because I'm, in the management role. So I can admit maybe I'm doing too much and I need to be a little bit more, focused and separate, if I'm driving a vehicle or I'm doing separate, learn to separate my work from other aspects of life. But it's just a, a really expensive ticket when, like I said, with my record, I have been the one guilty of speeding and driving too fast and making other mistakes. At this time, I wasn't in an accident. I wasn't speeding. I didn't make a wrong turn. I mean, I'm just being realistic here regarding the matter.
Anything else you want the court to know?
Not at this time.
All right. Any remarks from the people?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. First, just so that you're aware for future reference, Michigan's hands-free law at Michigan Compile Law 257.602B does prohibit holding, operating, or even touching a phone. You're allowed to use your device hands-free or with a voice command, but you can't touch it with your hands, your arms, your shoulders, your fingers, anything. The other issue is the court appreciates and understands and empathizes with your full schedule, your household budget, your responsibilities at work. But as members of a free society, we are able to have a free society because we are a rules-based society. And if we are making subjective judgments that, well, this doesn't really apply to me right now, because I'm needed at work or I need to think about what I'm doing versus what the law says, we can't make those kinds of judgments. That's actually, quite frankly, without being dramatic, sort of an on-ramp to chaos. The court appreciates everything that's going on in your life. What the court is going to do, Ms. Williams, oh, I'm sorry. You suggested one other thing, which is that you weren't in an accident, you weren't speeding, you weren't violating any other laws. The distracted driving in and of itself is the cause for thousands and thousands of accidents and some fatalities in the United States every year. So the law is designed to actually prevent such accidents. The court's going to reduce that fine to $110, and the court sees that you already have a bond posted. So you're going to get $155 returned to defendant. Again, Miss Williams, this is a 0-point violation, but if it happens again, you will you'll be required to take a remedial course to keep your license. But
Do you know?
What's that?
Thank you, Your Honor. I was just wondering if you know regarding the documentation that they mailed to me how that works with.
We are not the Secretary of State, so I can't really speak to what Joycelyn Benson's office has sent you. I don't want to give you any incorrect information, so I can't give you any information on that. It didn't come from the court. Secretary of State is a completely separate branch of government, okay? But right now, your only obligation in this court is that we've already got a bond posted, so we're going to return $155 to you, and you can put that toward your children's budget. Take care of yourself.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, so I got the impression that this young woman wasn't really going to pay unless she was forced to. You know, I didn't quite understand, you know, she says, oh, I didn't need the car. Well, then why'd you buy it? I don't understand that. Her car didn't break down, so she really didn't need this car. So she straps herself to purchase a car that she doesn't need. Okay. I don't quite get that, but I got the impression she wanted something for nothing. And she was going to take advantage of these two people as much as she could. That's just the impression I got, but who knows? And then the second one, I just thought it was interesting because she figured since she works hard, she's allowed to hold the phone while she's driving. I mean, you know, if you work hard, why not? Well, because it's against the law. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you another time.